How North Carolina is slowly turning into America's next mega city. North Carolina, I wouldn't have a clue where it is on the map, but I'm slowly learning. But I'm very excited for this video. If you guys are excited, make sure to like and subscribe. Also, make sure to come check me out on Twitch. We go live Monday through to Thursday, and we get to hang out together. Now, let's dive straight into this video.
This is North Carolina.
Okay.
With a population of about 11.2 million,
Yes.
it doesn't usually dominate national headlines,
Okay.
but quietly, it's becoming one of the fastest changing places in the United States.
Oh, wow, look at that.
On its
time
own,
lapse.
none of the state's major cities seem that unusual. To
Okay.
most people, Charlotte, Raleigh, Durham, and Greensboro all
Okay.
look like typical fast-growing Sunbelt cities. But
Whoa,
when you
whoa,
zoom
whoa,
out, some
whoa. Let me just go back there.
like typical fast
Check that building out. Look at it. It's got like spikes up the top. What's going on there? That is a cool looking building.
growing Sunbelt cities. But when you zoom out, something strange starts to appear.
Okay, what is
These
that?
cities aren't growing in isolation. They're growing toward each other, faster than almost anywhere in the country.
Okay.
Between 2020 and 2024, Raleigh was the second fastest growing metro area in the US by percentage,
Wow.
while Charlotte ranked 7th and recorded the 4th largest population increase overall.
Wow.
Both cities have expanded far beyond their footprints from
I'm guessing, I'm just taking a guess out there. People wanting to move to North Carolina. Is that the reason why?
just a decade ago, with new suburban development spreading in every direction.
Gotcha.
Between them, Greensboro and Winston-Salem are also growing steadily, gradually filling in the gaps. Together, all of these cities are beginning to form what looks less like separate metros and more like a single, continuous urban region,
Gotcha.
home to most of the state's population. So, why is this region growing so fast?
Yes, let's
and
go.
what does it mean for the future of North Carolina? For most of American history, North Carolina was not an urban state at all. Its
Gotcha.
economy was dominated by agriculture, textiles, and tobacco,
Gotcha.
with the population spread across small towns rather than concentrated in large cities. Unlike places like New York or the Great Lakes, it
Mhm.
never developed a single dominant metro early on. Instead, multiple modest-sized cities emerged, each serving a different role. Charlotte grew as a banking and transportation hub.
Gotcha.
Raleigh, Durham, and Chapel Hill developed around government, education, and research, while Greensboro and Winston-Salem became manufacturing and logistics centers. For decades, these cities were still very small and separated by large stretches of rural land.
Okay.
This all started to change in the mid to late 20th century. Highways connected the state more tightly than ever before.
Gotcha.
At the same time, air conditioning made the South far more livable, and manufacturing jobs began shifting away from the Northeast and Midwest.
Dang, that's actually a very good point. Obviously, I'm just naturally when I hear of places or states down in the South, it's just hot. It's just hot. But that makes sense. Imagine the time when air conditioning got introduced to all those people. You know what I mean? It makes sense that people would have been like, "Oh, okay, well, it's livable. It's livable. You're not just sweating everywhere. It's actually livable to go down to the South."
Then came a second major shift, the transition to a knowledge and service-based economy.
Okay.
The research triangle was intentionally designed to attract high-tech companies and research institutions. Charlotte became one of the largest banking centers in the country.
Gotcha.
As jobs diversified and wages rose, North Carolina became increasingly attractive to people moving from more expensive or slower-growing regions.
Gotcha.
But instead of one city absorbing all that growth, it spread across multiple metros at once. And over time, those once separated cities
Wow.
began expanding outward.
Wow.
Subdivisions, office parks, logistics hubs, and highways slowly filling the space between them. What used to be empty countryside is now the connective tissue of a much larger urban system.
That's so
And that
cool.
brings us to today. Charlotte is the largest city by far, and also the city that has expanded the most.
Gotcha.
With a population of over 900,000 and 2.9 million when counting the full metro area, it has grown
Charlotte.
by
Is that the Charlotte Hornets, the NBA team? Charlotte, right? Charlotte Hornets? I'm pretty sure it's Charlotte Hornets.
93% since 2005,
Gotcha.
the highest percentage increase among North America's major cities. It still welcomes roughly 157 newcomers every day,
Gotcha.
and the impact is visible. Just look at this time lapse from 1884 to 2022. As you can clearly see, the city has spread
Wow.
far beyond Mecklenburg County, pushing into South Carolina,
Mm.
east toward Monroe, and north toward Mooresville and Lake Norman. Suburbs that were once small towns or rural land are
Yeah.
now fully integrated into the Charlotte region, connected by
Wow.
highways, office parks, and massive residential developments. Meanwhile, 2 hours to the northeast, the Research Triangle has been undergoing a completely different but equally dramatic transformation.
Gotcha.
Raleigh, Durham, and Chapel Hill have grown together into a single economic engine, home to approximately 2.4 million people.
Wow.
What used to be
Is that
clearly separate.
obviously not all of you guys live in North Carolina, but do you guys like it when the states that you guys live in starts to become overpopulated or people are moving in? Is that something that you guys like, or do you guys does it like, or do you guys not like that? You know what I mean? So obviously North Carolina is just booming. Um, Suburbs are just like I look at the town that I live in. Um, I mean, I'm not against it, but where I live, there's a lot of hardcore Māori roots. Like we have one of the biggest maraes in New Zealand, just around the corner where I live, and where I live, it's just expanding. It's expanding. People are moving in, and it's kind of changing the culture of where I live and how I grew up 25 years ago when I was 5 years old. It's got its positives and its negatives. Let me know what you guys think when people move in or your guys' states become overpopulated.
Cities are now tied together by continuous development along
Mm.
I-40 and I-540.
Gotcha.
Raleigh, in particular, has expanded at an incredible pace.
Gotcha.
The population of its metro area has nearly tripled from only 548,000 in the year 2000 to 1.6 million by 2025.
Wow.
Entire new suburbs have appeared almost overnight, pushing development beyond Wake County into parts of Johnston and Durham counties as well. Durham, while not experiencing a boom on the scale of Raleigh's, is still growing steadily, expanding outward while also densifying its core. Even Chapel Hill, which has historically had a slower population growth, is still being pulled into the region's expansion simply because of how strong the demand has become.
Gotcha.
Many people even advocate for the Raleigh and Durham metro areas to officially merge because of the fact that they are increasingly functioning as a single, interconnected region, and that a unified metro would be more competitive with other major hubs.
Gotcha.
After all, the airport is named Raleigh-Durham International Airport. And then there's the Piedmont Triad: Greensboro, Winston-Salem, and High Point. This area hasn't exactly exploded in population like the other regions, but it never collapsed. In recent years, it has managed to diversify its economy with growth in logistics, healthcare, education, and advanced manufacturing.
Wow.
Geographically, it also sits at a critical point, directly along I-40 and I-85, halfway between Charlotte and the Triangle, making the region impossible to ignore as both ends continue expanding outward. In short, while these regions aren't officially merging, they increasingly resemble a single mega-region rather than a collection of separate cities, not just in scale, but in how they function. However, explosive growth like this always comes with challenges.
Yes.
The first is transportation. This entire region is almost completely car-dependent, and I-40 and I-85 were never designed to function as the main arteries of a single urban system, yet that's exactly what they are becoming. Commutes are getting longer, congestion is increasing, and there are very few alternatives to driving. Well, you can take
That's
the
one
Piedmont
thing. That's
or
one thing, guys. One thing that I like about the city I live in, or the biggest city I live closest to, compared to Auckland, which is the biggest city in New Zealand. I'm sick and tired of waiting in traffic. And Auckland is so bad. Like it's so bad. Like to just travel like 2-3 Ks in the peak of traffic can probably take you 2 to 3 hours. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Linear Amtrak trains, which connect much of the region and have been gaining popularity, attracting over 720,000 riders in 2024, which was a large increase from previous years.
That will help.
However, these trains often take longer than driving, and the frequency is too low for everyday use. After all, they aren't designed for daily commuting, which makes it difficult for them to meaningfully relieve pressure on the highways. The second challenge, which also ties into the car dependency, is sprawl. Because growth has spread outward instead of
Mm.
upward, most developments are low-density suburban. In Charlotte, for example, 84% of all residential land is zoned exclusively for single-family homes, which
Gotcha.
is clearly visible when looking at it from above. While the city has been making an effort to densify with townhomes, larger mixed-use buildings, and
Gotcha.
duplexes, these
Yeah.
developments are usually only in central areas or corridors near major roads. Then there's housing. For
Okay.
years, North Carolina's biggest advantage was affordability, but that is changing quickly. Home
Gotcha.
prices in Charlotte now sit around
Ooh.
$385,000, up roughly 2.7% from the
Wow.
year before. Raleigh is even
That
more
is another big
expensive,
one.
with
It's
a
not only transport. Homes start to get expensive.
median home price of about $450,000, above the national median and a sharp increase from just a few years ago. Prices in the Piedmont Triad remain lower by comparison, but they too continue to rise. In short, North Carolina's three largest metro areas are all growing fast and
Mm.
slowly forming a single, interconnected urban region. How the region handles transportation, housing, and ongoing growth will shape its future, whether for better or worse.
Gotcha. Very interesting video. Very interesting. A little bit different from what I've usually watched, but North Carolina is slowly turning into America's next mega city. Those time lapse were crazy. You can just see it empty, and then just over time, it just starts to really build. But you got your positive, you got your negatives. Yeah, the same thing, exactly what I said in the video. For me, or for where I am, the culture starts to slowly get depleted, slowly. But then, mind you, 20 to 30 years ago, where I lived, people would go, never living there, in terms of like gangs and whatnot. Now it's totally changed. A lot of parkiers move here. It's the next affordable thing. But that's the thing, when people can't afford in the cities, they start to go where? They start to look elsewhere and into the rural areas. So I'm guessing that would be the exact same thing for North Carolina and a lot of other different states in America. But really enjoyed this video, very educational. But if you guys enjoyed it, make sure to like and subscribe. Also, make sure to come check me out on Twitch. We go live Monday to Thursday, and we get to hang out and watch reactions together. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Let's go.